Hello again. So I wanted to talk about this. The books of Enoch. This used to be such a taboo thing, back in my day when I was growing up. And like you would barely once in a great while hear somebody say, something about it. But it was usually, oh, don't talk about that, or oh, don't say that name, or things like that. It was just really a very taboo subject. It was something that it was considered evil. um, and I kind of forgot about it, over the years, but every once in a while the name would, pop up in my head, and I'd be like, what was that about? Hold on. Okay, just made a little adjustment there. And it was such a subject that was never talked about, touched on, anything, that I didn't even know what it was, and what it was about or anything. I knew nothing except that it was considered evil, and you never talk about it. So here I am talking about it. So I got on Amazon. I think it was either the beginning of this year or the end of last year, and looked for it, and found that. And I think I read, how much did I read? About 18 pages. And then I started getting really busy with doing things around here, and I started thinking about it again the other night, and then all of a sudden Enoch is all over TikTok, so it made me, what I'm seeing about it is really, really interesting to me. And so I'm going to start reading it again tonight, today, whenever. And I was just wondering, was that ever a thing in your household? I know my mom, she was like me. She liked to learn about things, before you make a judgment. And, she read anything and everything. And I'm the same way, I really like to learn, even if especially if it's something that will never be in my life or that I'll never experience. Like some of the darker things in life, I will read up on it and learn about it, watch things about it for years sometimes, until I feel like I absolutely cannot learn anymore, and until I have an understanding of it, which I don't know if I've really ever talked about it on my makeup channel, but it really came in handy with my husband because of his mental health issues and addiction issues. And before I met him, before I even knew he existed, I started really learning about that stuff for some reason, Now I feel like it was God and, maybe my angels guiding me towards that so that I would understand what was about to happen to me. And I mean that with all good humor and respect. My husband was clean and sober, when I met him. And by the time the end of his life, he had 13 years. So, yeah, so I'm just really looking forward to getting into this book. And there was something else that I wanted to talk about, but I cannot remember what it was. So hold on. Okay, I can't remember what it was, but let me just say, no, my source of knowledge is not solely TikTok. I dive deep into everything, every kind of source, you know. So I don't know, when I first got it, I felt like, you know, am I doing something really wrong here? You know? I hope not. But I really just want to learn about it, you know, and see what it's about. I mean, I have a general idea now, you know, that I've seen a lot of stuff pop up on it lately. It makes me kind of wonder if there's any kind of like knowledge of what's going on in the world today in here, you know. Sorry, I keep looking through it when I should be talking to you and paying attention to you. So anyway, I gotta go. I really need to do the yard, and I'm putting it off and putting it off. I'm thinking I might go in the garage first, just so I could put that off longer. So I'm gonna go. Thank you for listening. Bye.